in Ciudad de Mexico, we will be participating. This is our fourth year at that level, at the national level, participating with the Index Nacional Association. This is the association that caters to the trade industry, but more importantly, to the manufacturers, a las maquiladoras. Llevamos muchos años como socios, como miembros de Index Reynosa, pero desde hace 4 años aproximadamente somos socios, miembros y estamos involucrados a nivel nacional con Index Nacional y se nos ha prestado esta oportunidad. Again, opportunity. We saw a challenge, we said, you know what, let's go for it. Obviously, it takes investment, it takes time, it takes sacrifice, but we're going to be there. And we're going to talk to the decision makers because, as Victor pointed out, this is the time to be in Pharr. This is the time to be in our region. This is the time to continue the investment because guess what? Trade is still coming regardless. If you want me to give you some numbers, some digits, so at the Pharr Bridge, we measure our success by what we call the recapture rate. If we got 100 trucks coming in northbound from Mexico, we want to capture 100 trucks going back. We collect the tolls. That's where we make our money. About 80% of that goes back to the city, to the general fund. So obviously, city needs to generate more revenues through the bridge. As of this last month, and I reported these numbers to the bridge board last week, we're recapturing 104% of trade. So yes, things are good. We've seen a seesaw effect since February, even before the first set of tariffs hit. We saw a seesaw effect where we were up, we were down, we were up, we were down. Well, I'm happy to report today that we're about, and correct me if I'm wrong, Javier, about 4% up this last month as compared to the same time period last fiscal year. So we're very excited about the future. It sounds cliche to say that, but at the end of the day, you know, that's why we do the work that we do. So let me just show you some slides. You know, what I do, what my team does, when we speak, when we present, cuando presentamos los avances, es muy visual. It's very visual. We want people to get excited about this. We want people to see that this is happening in Pharr. It's not a myth. We're not making this stuff up. Again, the leadership has allowed us to move forward with projects. It's taken a long time. When we hear of other bridges coming today, tomorrow, pasado mañana, it doesn't happen overnight, folks. It takes years. You're going to see here that it takes approximately un promedio de 10 años, approximately 10 years to get projects not only off the ground, planned correctly, off the ground construction, and then finalizing the projects to become fully operational. So with that, let me show you some slides again, and feel free to stop me if you have any questions. I'm going to give you some data also, if I have time, because I think it's important that we see, again, the numbers and what this all means for Pharr. Obviously, we're strategically located right in the middle of it all. We're strategically located with all the major corridors between Mexico and the United States. And guess what? Even though Mexico is our #1 trading partner, we're trading with about 90 countries across the world, around the world to be exact. Every year we put out a trade numbers publication. Shout out to our friend Ken Roberts out of Miami with World City. He collects this data from the US Census. It comes from customs brokers, and we're able to get that information, make sense of it, and it allows us to see where we stand in Pharr as the Pharr International Bridge, as a land port of entry or a border crossing in comparison to other land ports of entry, but above that with airports and seaports. So a lot of these numbers that you're going to see right now, they come from this trade numbers publication. But first and foremost, let me get into this mission and vision thing. 2 years ago, we started working with our friends over there at Jessicano with TMAC. I highly encourage you to seek them out for anything you may need, studies. We put together basically a strategic plan with the Texas Manufacturing Assistance Center at UTRGV. And this is what we came up with. And this is in line with the city. I mean, we run as a business. Why not have a mission, vision, and values? And a value proposition, right? So our mission is to provide excellent global trade services. And it aligns with the city's mission as well. And our vision is that the Pharr International Bridge will be recognized as the state's best-in-class world global trade services provider.
Good.
Our value proposition, we're more than just a bridge. We've been saying this since last year. We've been taking it on the road. Why? Because we offer efficiency and experience here and now. We can't do this without the team. Victor pointed out his team. I point out my team. This is just part of the team that we have. But we have it here available now, ladies and gentlemen. We don't need to go anywhere else. We're here and now. And we're more than just a bridge for many different reasons. First and foremost, our team. But if you think about it from a physical standpoint, we will be more than just a bridge once we have the second span ready to go next year. Vamos a hacer dos puentes, más que solo un puente. So again, just aligning with our strategic location. I don't need to get into this, but you understand what I'm talking about. I think one of the key points here is that how do you become intermodal if you're not crossing barges, if you're not crossing cargo ships through Pharr, if you're not crossing trains through Pharr? How do you become intermodal? Well, you sign agreements. You sign memorandums of agreement, memorandums of understanding. And we have a memorandum of understanding with the Port of Brownsville. Now they're under new leadership, so it's time to get back, circle back, and join up again and say, hey, what are we going to do for the next 10 years? Because that MOU has been around since then. Remember the fracking days? Remember those days back in 2012, 2013? La Cuenca de Burgos, all that stuff that was happening. So that's when we started with this, but things have shifted. As I mentioned earlier, trade has shifted. So it's time to get back with the new leadership and get back on board and see what else can we do to facilitate matters and trade between the Port of Brownsville and us and Mexico and the rest of the world. Let's talk about value of trade. And I want to make that very clear. What the numbers that you see here are mostly value of trade in imports and exports. They do not necessarily correlate or match up to crossings. That's something we're working on. Crossings and value is totally different, but we're working on a formula to kind of put those numbers together. But the value of trade in 2024, as you can see, we had an increase of almost 8% on the import side and a deficit of trade on the export side of about 10%. So that's the value right there, 31 billion, 15 billion in trade that we're crossing. So approximately you're looking at about 48 to 50 billion dollars in trade that the bridge in Pharr, the city of Pharr, is crossing on a yearly basis. And right now it looks like we're on track to either be at 50 billion or surpass 50 billion. How do you split that up? 75% is manufactured goods, 18% is produce, even though we're the number one produce bridge and everybody knows that. 18% is produce and 7% is energy, oil, and gas industry. Our daily commercial traffic. Everybody wants to know, ¿cuántos camiones cruzan por Pharr? Pues aquí está. Northbound trucks. Every day we're seeing about 2,900 trucks northbound during peak months and about 2,700 on the slow months. On the southbound side, we're seeing 2,850 during peak months and 2,600 on the southbound, on the slow months. So any given day, 4,800 to about 5,000 trucks going inbound and outbound through Pharr. That's a lot of trucks. But as some folks were talking about earlier, look at Laredo. Laredo's doing about 20,000 trucks. That's why you have such long wait times in Laredo. You can't compare. Once we have the bridge expansion, guess what? That time is going to be cut in half or even more. Because the whole purpose of having an expansion is that we can cut back and start, not just cutting back, but eliminating wait times. When we first started working with our federal partners, Customs and Border Protection, on these projects, including the bridge expansion, we said, we're not going to get anything done unless we reduce the amount of time that it takes from a truck to get from point A to point B. Desde el inicio de la ruta fiscal del lado mexicano hasta la salida del puerto aquí en Pharr. 10, 15 minutes tops for all those conveyances that are certified. That's what we're looking at. We're not building a bridge to stand on top of the bridge, to park on the bridge. We're building a bridge to cross that bridge, to make us more efficient. A little bit on the perishable side. And we get this information, obviously, from our friends that we're members of Texas International Produce Association and our friend Dante Galeazzi. So 7% average yearly growth in imports of produce, of fresh produce. What does that mean for Texas? What does that mean for the nation? So that's about 63% of the Texas average and about 34% for the nation. That's all the produce that's crossing through here. That's what's maintained our number one status, allowed us to maintain our number one status as the number one port of entry for fresh produce for about 9 to 10 years now and counting. We took that title away from Nogales and we're proud of it and we're going to keep it because guess what? More companies, more importers, more growers are looking at Pharr. That's why you have big investments in cold storage facilities and distribution centers. Real quick trivia or a little bit of information also shared from our friends at TIPA. So this is our way of giving back to the Texas economy. For every $1 of produce that crosses through Pharr, the state of Texas makes $2.50 back. So if we take 16 billion plus that we made in 2024, 6.5 billion that we imported in 2024, that's about $17 billion that goes back to the state. A little bit more on the numbers. Again, I already mentioned it, and we're not going to get tired of saying it. Number one produce bridge in the nation, right? Third largest trade hub in the Texas-Mexico border. So who's in front of us? We have El Paso, and we have Laredo, and then us. Or El Paso and Laredo, kind of. But it's Laredo, I think, at the number one spot. Around the nation, across the entire border region, all the way to California, you're going to have a number one spot. It's going to be Otay Mesa in California. We're 8th for total trade amongst other border crossings. So again, a border crossing is basically a land port of entry. It is a bridge like ours. And 30th for total trade, like I said earlier, amongst not just border crossings or land ports of entry, but amongst airports and seaports around the nation. So not too bad for a 31-year-old bridge, right? And just real quick on the exports, I'm not going to get too far into it, but as you can see, the top five exports that we have through Pharr, I mentioned a little bit already, but the oil and gas industry continues to dominate that. Gasoline, liquefied natural gas, pork, insulated wire and cable, and motor vehicle parts. And we're seeking more market share on the automotive side. That's one of the things that the team and I are working on and facilitating those matters. And then on the import side, number one for avocados. Guess what? Tomorrow is the start of the produce season event. Actually, what's today? Today's Tuesday. So Thursday. So if anybody that's here today has not been to the start of the produce season event, I know some of you have because you're in the produce industry, we welcome you. It's going to be at 10 o'clock here outside the bridge. We're celebrating our 12th annual start of the produce season and our 4th annual A Taste of Trade. But number one for avocados. So we're huge during Super Bowl. As a matter of fact, every year, 1 month leading to the Super Bowl, we're crossing about 120 million pounds. Maybe I'm off a little bit there. About 120 million pounds of avocados that cross through the Pharr International Bridge. So that's why the city decided a few years back, we're going to do our own avocado festival. So this Saturday marks the 3rd annual Avocado Festival in downtown Pharr. So we welcome you to that as well. And as you can see, insulated wire, TV computer monitors, LG is huge through Pharr, medical instruments. We saw a little bit of more of that when manufacturing started shifting during COVID. And then berries is our number 5. And again, this is in terms of value, not truck crossings. So what does all this mean? There's a lot of numbers, a lot of stuff I'm throwing out there, overstating it, as they say, but it's for a good purpose. We're preparing for the future. So when you look at something that says DAP on our maps, on our pictures, wherever you see DAP, Donations Acceptance Program. We were the first bridge to join up with the federal partners, CBP, DHS, CBP, when they created this program back in 2014. We jumped on board. We submitted a set of plans, which is now known as DAP 15, 2015. Again, 10 years, because we finished this project last year in 2024, and we had a whole ceremony, inaugurated the project and everything. But guess what? We have not been able to become fully operational because we're hinging on the state. Any state employees here? Hopefully not, but they know. The state knows that, the border safety inspection facility that you have over here, we're still not open. We're still hinging on that. But what this does, it gives you 2 additional commercial entry lanes. So now we go from 6 to 8. We go, these old exits that were from east to west are now south to north. And then now we have an additional 2 exit lanes that are going to be used for those conveyances that are certified. So if your supply chain with your company, your truck driver, the entire supply chain is certified, which right now is representative of about 28 to 30% of the trucks that cross in Pharr, you'll be able to go gate to gate, puerta a puerta. What does that mean? You cut back on crossing times. So that's that project. That one's done. So we should be open as soon as the state is open. Our DAP 16, so 2016, will be ready by August, September of 2026. This is basically an expansion of the import lot. This is going to streamline things. The cold inspection facility, not cold storage, cold inspection facility, dry dock expansion, and a regional ag training center and laboratory by August, September. And then the last one, as I mentioned, the bridge expansion. So we're very excited about this because, again, this is going to give us double the capacity. 2 fast lanes, free and secure trade lanes coming in from Mexico to the U.S. What is this going to do? It's going to allow us to reach our goal of getting more companies to become certified, because now you don't have to wait in line and cross the bridge to finally get to your Sentry lane or to your fast lane or to your certified lane. Now you'll be able to get it all the way from Mexico officially all the way to the U.S. So that's going to increase by all the way to 60%. And that's it, folks. They're telling me I'm out of time already, but I think there's a quick video here just to show you the time lapse of how things are going at the bridge as far as the construction. But I do appreciate your time. Thank you so much this morning for coming out, and look us up, please, and find us and go visit us. Thank you.